In all the cities of Delhi, perhaps the most interesting and the most intriguing is the third city here at Tughlaqabad. Right from how it was conceptualized, created and thereafter abandoned, I think there is no other unique example like Tughlaqabad is.
The Tughlaqabad Fort can be approached from multiple directions, each linking it with the historic city of Delhi. The ride from Faridabad bypasses Surajkund, which we saw in the first video. The route from Mehrauli and Saket passes by Kila Lal Pithoda, the subject of a second video. And the road I took today moves along the outer ring road in close proximity of the southern walls of Siri into Greater Kailash and along the Jahanpana forest area. Irrespective of the direction taken, the presence of the Tughlaqabad Fort is unmistakable. It is built on a high ground with 70 to 100 feet walls rising above the area and tapering inwards. The walls, approximately 6.5 kilometers around the periphery, were surrounded by a moat. These walls were not meant to be an object for beautification. It was to stop the enemy in their tracks. The inward sloping wall, multiple layers of stones, and a tiered layout of the wall itself made sure that it stood up to the enemy and the ravages of time.
It's said that Alauddin Khilji was once passing by this area with one of his generals, Ghazi Malik. Now, Ghazi Malik was responsible for stopping the Mongols in the northern areas. Now, while they were passing, Ghazi Malik suggested that this was an excellent site at a height and maybe a perfect place to construct a fort. Alauddin Khilji laughed and said, "Look, when you become Sultan, why don't you make a fort here?" And who was to know that after Alauddin Khilji's death, when there was a power vacuum in Delhi, Ghazi Malik took over the reins of the kingdom, renamed himself Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, and established the commencement of the Tughlaq dynasty. Let me try and explain the layout of this area to you, because for most people who come here, it's actually just a collection of ruins and it's very difficult to differentiate one thing from another. So let me start from when you enter the Tughlaqabad Fort. Thereafter, immediately on entering, you find that there is a path which goes onto the left and there's another one which goes onto the right. Now the area ahead of you and on your left immediately thereafter is the area of the palace. And the area onto the right is called the area of the citadel. Now, while the palace also had some public areas where the king would interact with his officials as well as with the people, but the area of the citadel was where his private quarters were there. So let's first move to the area of the citadel, which is onto the right as you come in from the entrance. Now, as you enter the area, you will see that there is within the larger perimeter, which is about 6.5 kilometers of the fort itself, there is a smaller perimeter of the citadel on the right hand side of the path. Now, the minute you enter this area, onto the right, you will find a small little mosque. Onto the left is a small settlement of broken houses, which presumably it's said are from the Mughal period, with a few people who had come to stay there. You move further ahead and the path which goes, it's a clearly laid out path which has been constructed. It comes to two specific destinations. The one which is onto your right actually goes into an underground tunnel, and that tunnel has rooms on both the sides. Now, there's a lot of speculation about what those rooms were, but in all probability they were either for some kind of storage or may have been used for living quarters as well. Now, the other path which comes onto a high area where we are standing now. And probably on this platform you had a structure which could allow visibility into the area around, and we can look at a similar structure in Jahanpana to get an idea as to how it exactly was. What you see here behind me is the Tomb of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. As you can see, it's been made with red sandstone and marble, and it's created on a raised platform. And you also find a fort-like structure around it.
The Tomb of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq is connected to the fort through what looks like a causeway. Well, it indeed was one because of the water body that surrounded the fort. In contrast to the other structures, the tomb is built with sandstone and marble, though it retains the same characteristic sloping walls of the fort. It is also surrounded by a smaller wall, almost making it look like a mini fort with the tomb rising and dominating from within. The tomb is surrounded by a lush green lawn on all its sides, which creates a contrast with the red and white of the monument itself. There are 3 graves within, including that of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, his son Muhammad Tughlaq, and wife Makhdoom-e-Jahan. During the 2 years the fort was being constructed, there was a controversy regarding workers wanting to simultaneously work at a Baoli being built by the Sufi Saint Nizamuddin Aulia. The king objected, being away on a campaign, and threatened to punish the saint. To which Nizamuddin Aulia said, "Hanooz Dilli Durast," or "Dilli abhi dur hai." Delhi is yet far. He also predicted that the fort will never be fully inhabited, saying, "Ya basein Gujjar, ya rahe Ujjad." Either graziers will live here or it will remain uninhabited. As fate would have it, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq died in an accident on the outskirts of Delhi during the celebration of his victory, wherein the wooden pavilion constructed came crashing down upon him, and the fort area was evacuated soon after Ghiyasuddin's death. So this was the story of the 3rd city of Delhi, a story of a dream to build the fort, its realization, and its fall shortly thereafter. In the next video, we will cover the 4th city of Delhi. Until then, goodbye.